This gospel is from the 17th chapter of St. John. Every time it comes up or I read it and know it's coming, I take 2 aspirins. Because it's very complex. You be in me, I be in you, we be in them, they be in us. It seems very convoluted. But essentially, what we hear in this gospel today is the equivalent of eavesdropping on Jesus praying to the Father. Do you ever go out to the restaurant and the people at the next table are talking too loud? Or the old telephone system, this is not for young people, where you could listen in to the phone message. Now we have other ways today with technology to kind of listen and wiretap and all this other kind of nonsense. But let's not go there. We are privy to the intimate conversation of Jesus and the Father. So this is really who he is. And what's he saying? He is about to take leave. This, in St. John, this is really situated as his final discourse, his farewell discourse on the night before he died. Kind of like his last will and testament. What's he saying? I pray for them, the disciples, the people he's going to leave behind, that they may come together, that they may be one, as you and I are one. May they be one. How does unity happen? It happens where there is love, because love brings separateness into unity. And there is no unity where there is no love. Evil is the division that breaks it apart. Love is what unites and heals. And maybe that's what we should reflect on today. The challenge and the wonderful gift of unity. Who doesn't want it? Think of all of the sadness in life where we don't have it. And it's all about our relationships. Our individual relationships, our relationships in family, our relationships in groups, relationships in parish, as a nation, and look at the world. When we pray for peace in the world, what are we praying for? Unity, not division. The easiest thing to fall into, if we fall back into ourselves, is we polarize against everybody else. And that's the problem of evil. Evil, however you put a face on it, you know it by its fruit. It divides people. It divides us from ourselves when in our own brokenness, when we go against our better judgment and make dumb or stupid decisions, which we can do. We hate ourselves after the fact. Why? I betrayed my own beliefs and values. And I can't live. What's guilt? I'm upset with myself. What do you do about it? You got to come to your senses. And when I can admit it and seek forgiveness, etc., I can move on. Think of that in relationship to the people that we love. In our families. This is Mother's Day. Is there a mother who doesn't want her family to get together and to be one? Do you think mothers are praying, oh, I hope they never talk to each other again? I hardly think so. Is that not what we're looking for? How do you hold this family together? Because they're all different, and they're all too smart, and they're all too independent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The challenge, God must have a sense of humor. And we need one too. Why did God make us all so different and then expect us to get together? Or it happens even like we get into this like in marriage preparation with engaged couples. How did you hook up with each other and decide you're going to get married? Well, there's something attractive in the other person. They're different than I am. It's the opposite. We are attracted to the opposite. And then little by little, it wears down and you get tired of it and you say, why aren't you more like I am? And if you thought and acted like I did, we'd have no problems. Hello? That's the challenge. But what is it that bridges the two to make them one? It is that willingness to give. Sometimes it's to give in, but it is to give self and to receive that also. We're made for this, but we got to learn it and learn it many times over. That does not only apply to individuals and families, it applies to a parish like this. And I think you can, how do I say this tactfully? You can evaluate churches by the way people treat each other in their coming and going. If you came into this church and nobody looked at you, wouldn't move over, by the way you're in my seat, you know that drill. Or think of the other ways in which you can be so put out, you'd never come back. I have been in churches, not this one, where I would never go back. Because the people themselves were pretty much cold and indifferent. I don't think we go to church to be buried in ourselves. This is a hard thing. Some people say, well, people are talking, I want to pray. Yeah, I think we need to do. Part of that narthex is meet and greet out there, and when you come in, pray, but people pray out there and come in here and meet and greet. I can't control it. But the point is, it doesn't matter. The point is that we meet and greet, and we together worship when we're here. If you want to pray to Jesus privately, do that in your bedroom. Or your bathroom, or wherever you can get alone to be by yourself. But we really come together for the purpose of giving worship to God as a community. And if a community is not a community, you can experience, you can tell in the way people pray, in the way you sing, in the way you get together. Before I came to this parish, I had a diocesan job, and so I did not have a parish assignment for a number of years. So I was Father Fill-In. You know, it's the traveling road show. You go here, wherever, and the bishop would send me here or there, wherever they needed help. So I was in a lot of churches on weekends, different places. And it was nice to drop my bombs and leave town. And then the pastor had to put up with it when he got back. At any rate, I would just kind of try to get a sense in the way people responded at Mass. What's going on in this parish? How do these people relate to each other? Do they enjoy each other? Are they strangers? Do they care? Are they interested? Do they participate? What do they like? I think we reveal that in our energy or lack of energy when we come together. I enjoy being with these people and not. I always, watching the Steelers or the Pirates more recently, I don't know about the Penguins, all of them, sometimes you see a person with the opposite shirt or jersey on, like there's a Steeler fan or a Pirate fan in the midst of the Mets game, at the Mets game in New York. How do you think, and those of you Steeler fans, when the opposite team is here visiting, how do you think those people feel accepted by the Steeler fans? I think they're crazy. I wouldn't put my life on the line like that. You can tell when you want to be a part of something, and you can tell, not something, I'm here to flaunt it and to get your attention. Fine. But in the end, don't we hunger for acceptance and to be brought together and to be made to feel that we are contributing to a greater good that is larger than we are. We're making unity somewhere in some way. That's the mission and purpose of every human being. And that's love in action. However we go about it, that by your fruit you will know it. And Jesus prays that this will happen, not because we're so skilled, but because we cannot do it without the power from on high, to push us beyond our comfort zones, to accomplish what we cannot accomplish. Some of the challenges of unity in our life are overwhelming. Think of the world scene in trying to bring peace where there has been genocide. How would nations and people who've grown up murdering each other have a new life? We're kind of in la-la land about that. We experience certain things in this country, but we don't experience some of this tremendous antipathy and destructive stuff that other countries that we hear about do. How are they supposed to do this? The grace of God is the only way that's ever going to happen, and people's cooperation with it. So it can be in the big things. Also, if you've been betrayed or if you've had a negative, horrible experiences, love is a wonderful thing. It's a terrible thing and a wonderful thing all at the same time. How do we overcome the challenges of the conflicts of love in life? How do you move on after it has been destroyed? How do we continue not to kind of collapse, but to move forward? Those are the challenges of the grace of God, to build the unity of the community of which we are part. Ultimately, we have to look back. I always think of the way the first picture taken of the earth from the moon. Well, you could see the whole globe, which you can't see here. Similarly, what if we could get ourselves to the next life and look at the globe of this life from there? What would it look like? What do we want it to look like? Because there's going to be none of this division. And I don't know how you're going to get in there if you live for division. Something is not going to translate when you swipe your card to get in. Something's not going to connect. It's not going to work. Because we were created for this forever. It starts in this life. It does not end in this life. So today, hearing Jesus' prayer for us, knowing that he not only instructs us at that table, he empowers us at this table of the Eucharist to be healed, to be put together again, to be strengthened, and then to go out those doors with this power from on high to make a difference in our lives, wherever that is, usually in the little things of each day. All of this is important. Sometimes we act like it isn't. Every act of kindness and goodness builds bridges between and among people, and it is the foretaste of the kingdom of heaven, for which Jesus died and rose and returned to the Father, and from which he is calling all of us. Let us get the message again today, realize how gifted we are with this grace and this love, and allow that to move us forward in creating the better world and the better next chapter of our own lives together with his grace.